So the first question is, what is a virus? And just for us to think about this, where some questions, does a virus have a cell membrane? Yes or no?
No. They're not cells.
No. Does a virus have a nucleus?
No.
No. Does it have other organelles, like
Yes.
ribosomes, lysosomes, vacuoles?
Yes. Nucleic acid. No. Nucleic
Does
acid.
not. Does it have nucleic acid?
Yes.
Yes. And protein?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it does.
What is that small word?
This is, a virus is a strand of genetic material, either DNA or RNA, which is surrounded by protein. So in this virus, which is my favourite one, which is, it's got DNA in this head part, and it's surrounded by protein, and then this is like the landing part, which joins onto the cell membrane.
And doesn't it shoot it through the middle part into the cell?
Yes, it does. It injects it in.
Yes.
Yes. All a virus can do is to make copies of themselves. Okay, so second question. How do viruses multiply? Just as you explained, the virus attaches to the host cell. So this host cell is a eukaryotic cell, looks like an animal cell. The genetic material, the DNA or RNA, enters the cell, and it takes control of the cell and causes the cell machinery to make more viral DNA and more viral protein. And eventually the cell will burst and these virus particles will be released. For that virus I showed you on the last page, which infects bacteria, each time the bacteria bursts, about 100 new viruses are released. When we think about viruses, one thing to realize is that viruses can be actively multiplying, like we saw in the last slide, or what we call latent. Latent, what does that mean? It means like they're hidden, something like they're there but they're asleep. So a good example of a virus which can be latent is a virus called herpes simplex, and that's a virus which causes cold sores.
Are cold sores white?
So you see this girl has a cold sore on her lip here. Oops. Another one more close up. This kind of thing, painful cold sore. As we know, some people in the class get these, and these can be, what happens is the virus goes into this host cell DNA, it is copied through generations, maybe for many months or years, and then something happens that triggers it to become active, and so it becomes active and causes the cold sore. A viral disease that Chloe mentioned was shingles. And similarly, the virus is latent in the person's body, and then it becomes active and causes the disease. So while these the virus DNA is latent, it doesn't do any harm. It's just being copied. Faithfully, your cells are copying this, and it's part of your cell's DNA. Until something happens to trigger it, and then it becomes active and causes the cell damage. So the first stage when a virus attacks the cell is that it binds onto the cell membrane. Now, important thing to realize, the cell membrane of different cells are different. So what that means is that viruses usually only attack one kind of cell. And although we think of viruses which infect humans and other animals, it's not only animals which are infected by viruses. There are plant viruses, and there are, as we've seen, viruses which attack bacteria. So plants have their viruses, humans have their viruses, bacteria have their viruses, and so on. But some viruses can infect a range of hosts. So one example of this is the virus which causes rabies can infect humans, but it can infect other animals, including dogs and badgers and hedgehogs, so on. So it has quite a broad range. It can attack different animals and infect different animals. So how do we fight viruses? The main weapon against viruses is vaccination. And a vaccine is made from weakened virus particles. And these weak particles stimulate our body to produce defenses against the virus. So vaccinations is something we all get when we are children. So this could have been any of us here getting vaccination as a baby. It looks like no, I won't say. But there is still quite a lot of fear about vaccinations. I heard one teacher in this school say that he would not be vaccinated because he doesn't know what they're injecting into you. He thinks it's a secret plot. So, as you can see in these cartoons, vaccinations is something which are still a bit feared. So to get the story of the first vaccination, you can go to the video, which is there's a link to it on the class blog. The story of Edward Jenner and the vaccine against smallpox. Okay, so these are questions to check that you have got the main ideas of today's class. So think about these, and then I'll choose some people to give answers.